All right, so of course you click on this video to see how in the world am I comparing a cup of coffee to modern day movies. Well, I'm glad you're curious, so let me explain to you. Now, before I get started, a disclaimer: I'm just a regular guy on the internet. I am not an expert on anything, basically. I love coffee, I love movies. I'm not a critic, I'm not a purist coffee drinker, but I had this idea and I wanted to share it with you because the last couple years, watching movies and shows, it's really kind of suck anymore. And creating this channel, my whole goal was to review movies and shows and kind of give you my perspective of what I see and what I think about them, right? But I'll be very honest with you. The last little bit, I'm struggling to even go to the theater to watch it. One, to save money, and two is just I'm not really jonesing to see it. I'll wait till it comes on streaming, or I can be able to rent or watch it, and I'll do a review and give you my take on it, right? Just to be honest with you that way. And I really wanted to give an illustration the best way I can to how I feel about how not all movies, but majority of the big dogs in the Disney, for instance, because they get all the hate, and I understand why. But they have all these IPs, Marvel and Star Wars, and everybody flocks to their studios to watch the movies, and they have opinions and so on and so forth, right? For myself, it's kind of like, all right, we'll see what happens. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. Depends on the story they're trying to sell us. But anywho, let me get to what I'm getting at. So I made a cup of coffee today, right? And this is just a regular K-Cup coffee, and I forgot the brand. I just got it from my local grocery store. And I was making a cup of coffee, and I was like, this coffee's good. It's not bad. It was a new flavor coffee that I chose to get. And I have the tools to make French press coffee, and I have an espresso. Not a high dollar one. What's those small ones that has little cups you can get in. I like it. It's pretty good, right? But I really want something quick and easy, so I've done that. And of course, it's good. But man, you can't go wrong with a nice French press, fresh grind coffee. It just tastes a whole lot better. It has more flavoring. It has more punch to it. It has a lot more. It's better for you, and it don't have all the plastic taste to it or anything like that, like K-Cups do. And plus, K-Cups is bad for the environment, as we all know. So you're probably asking, how in the world is this relatable to movies or current day shows? I'm glad you asked. And this is my personal opinion. I might be wrong. I'm not an expert on anything. I'm just a guy on the internet with a camera. An opinion. That's it. So I was born in the 1900s, as you can see. And I've seen great movies and great shows over the years. And when I was a kid, or when I started to like movies and start thinking about the future, I'm thinking, man, movies are great now. Can you imagine, 20 years, 30 years down the road, how movies will be? And here we are. Movies are not that good anymore. And I had this moment. I figured out why, in my personal opinion. Let's use Disney, for example. They're the Tim Polts, I guess, the example for everybody to use, which I understand why. So Disney buys a cup of coffee. They don't care how the coffee's made. They don't care where it was made or who made it, but they know this cup of coffee is loved by many people, right? For example, let me give you an example. Let's say George Lucas made this cup of coffee, right? And he took his time to grind it. He took his time to find the right particular grower, the best flavoring he can get, and put the best machines to make it to the right steam and everything to a T, and sell it to the customer and say, here is your cup of coffee. This is Star Wars that you'll never forget about. And people took this product, took a sip of it, and as you can see, like, wow, everybody was how they reacted in 1977 with that product of coffee, also known as Star Wars. And Star Wars has been out of culture for almost, 50 years now? 40, 50 years? And we see how it is at this moment in our life. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just put in Star Wars review and you can see, tap in Acolyte and you can see all the reviews people talk about. And all my colleagues on YouTube have, made videos about the movie or that show and give their commentary and what they think and all that. And the reason I haven't watched it is because I took a sip of their coffee about a couple years ago and it sucked. I saw the flavoring of the trailer for Acolyte. I was like, I'm not interested in it. Why would I watch something that I know is going to put a bad taste in my mouth? Pun intended. It does not mean anything. Now, am I completely done with Star Wars? Absolutely not. I'm waiting for it to go into theaters, and I'll actually watch it in theaters and see if they change their way of making a good cup of coffee. You know what I'm saying? That's how I see it. Now, I know it's a weird analogy, but that's how I can understand and I can explain my personal opinion of the current day, how making a movie is. It's just buying something. Disney bought this from George Lucas for $4 billion, and they're trying to do a Starbucks way. They're going to it. They do it the easiest way possible, the fastest way possible, cut corners as fast as possible, and put in theaters and Disney Plus for as much people as they can, and then when us, the consumer or fans, take a sip of Disney Star Wars, you're like, what the freak is this, right? And Disney and all of their ways of doing things, they don't understand this. And honestly, people would say, how can't they understand that? And I can explain it, just what I'm showing you. They bought this $4 billion, so that they're thinking, okay, we bought this $4 billion, so this is worth maybe $8 billion if we can fine tune it and do all that stuff. But they don't do it. They are just making it double down. They're making it cheap. Now they put a lot of money into it, but they don't. But what they put in that cup of coffee is what makes and breaks the story of Star Wars, the story in Marvel, whatever. But I use it as a Star Wars reference because I'm a Star Wars fan, and my heart goes out to Star Wars fans currently of what's going on right now. But they buy this, and fans do not like what they're serving us. So they go on whatever and say whatever they say on YouTube. And they call us isms because we don't like the product they're serving us. It's not that we still love this cup of coffee. We still love Star Wars. I don't care who you are. I'll always love Star Wars. Don't matter who is in the driver's seat of making a movie or show. But I'm not going to buy any more Star Wars cup of coffee until they realize what they're doing to the brand of their coffee. Now, some people, I'll say this, and I don't mean any disrespect towards these people. Some people who love Disney so much and love Star Wars so much, they take a sip of coffee and go, oh my God, this is the best thing since sliced bread. And this is a Disney Star Wars cup, not a George Lucas Star Wars cup of coffee. And a lot of us on YouTube are like, what the F, man? You think that's good? Now, a lot of times in my head, I'm like, are they being real? Are they just being that way to kind of give their entertainment value on YouTube? Or they genuinely like what Disney is serving us? In my humble opinion, I don't know. I don't know what they think. I don't know them from Adam, right? But this is the thing I also think. Maybe they truly have not experienced a good quality of a good show, of a good Star Wars movie, or a good Star Wars show, or a good story in general. Because once they realize this is a good cup of coffee and this one's crap, then they'll change their tunes. Like, oh, you know what? I kind of like this better than this. Now, I understand. I'm being very hyperbolic about this, but this is just a castanet upon all Hollywood. Now, I'm not saying all Hollywood is that way. I think some Hollywood people a lower, I guess, more indie films, they care about making a good quality of a show or a movie or a show, just a story, because they care about what the content is in here. They care about people coming back to buy more coffee. You know what I'm saying? They care about the story. If I love a story, I will get 2 or 3 of these, maybe even 5. Probably won't be too healthy, but I will drink it. You know what I'm saying? I love coffee. Coffee is something I would say the last 10 years I've done more of it, just because I like it. Oh, speaking of that, this is a great idea. This came to me. Give you a good example. Compared George Lucas style of making a cup of coffee for Star Wars, right? Compared to Disney Star Wars cup of coffee. With George Lucas cup of coffee, there's nothing in it. And what I mean by that is it's just a general hot cup of coffee. It may be grinded differently. It might be made in a French press. It might be in espresso. It might be all kinds of flavoring, like a different type of how it was made in a certain place in the country. All that stuff, right? And it tastes fantastic. But over here with Disney Star Wars cup of coffee, I can't believe I just had this idea, and this is fantastic. It's not just a cup of coffee. It has sugar. It has cream. It has everything that you can think of and things you probably don't know what's in it. And you take a sip of it, it's like, this is bitter. This is horrible. And you look on the ingredients and you see all of the messaging they put in this cup of coffee to make themselves more cool, I guess, in certain groups. And people that, like myself, who's been a Star Wars fan for years, are just used to a plain old story that it's not dated, that it will appreciate the story for years and decades to come. That's what we have loved, that's what we supported, and this is what we've always wanted, right? But with this Disney Star Wars cup, the stuff in here is dated. It'll expire. The story within it will not last. It will probably be dated before end of the year, if you know what I'm saying. Because it's just, there's stuff in here that's not needed. If they strip away all the ingredients and make a simple story like George would make on his cup of coffee, this story would bring back fans like myself that will support and love the story. And I'll give you an example. It don't matter who's in the story. It can be a female, male. It does not freaking matter. It depends on what type of coffee it is. Is it just a plain old coffee that's roasted very well, has a fantastic taste? It's not bitter. It's not too sweet. It's just a good cup of joe, a good story that people can relate to, that brings them back to how stories used to be back in my day. But now maybe I'm just an old guy on the porch, old guy down here on his desk here, and just fondly think about the good old days. Maybe, probably, your thoughts are probably accurate. But I still have hope. It's very low, very low on what the future may hold for Star Wars. But I still have hope that somebody, I think I've said in previous videos that I believe Disney is going to accidentally make a good Star Wars movie or show. That's just my personal opinion, because I think they'll finally get somebody who knows how to make a good old cup of joe coffee. And when they make it in theaters, people will be amazed of the quality of the story, the quality of the taste, the quality of everything around it. Less of this, or more of this, and less of the ingredients they had 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And it makes a big difference. And I'm hoping Disney will see that, but they won't. They don't care about how it's made. All they care about is when it's done. That's basically everything in a nutshell. And I just, that's the reason I still love movies. I'll always talk about movies on this channel. It's just be patient with me. I promise you, there is movies that finally I can be able to watch it now, and I can give my opinions on these movies, because I really didn't want to go to the movie theater to watch it, because I don't have the get up and go feeling to go. I'll just wait till it comes on streaming, or maybe I'll rent it. But anywho, I kind of went longer than I expected in this on this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, give me a big like and comment below and let me know what your perspective is. If I'm way off base, if it makes sense, or I'm just a rambling guy on the internet. But I do appreciate each one. And if you like this kind of content, I usually don't do this, but I really like, my goal is to hit 1,000 subs. If you like this type of stuff, give me a like, give me a sub. If you don't, that's cool too, but I figure I ask. I won't ask for a lot. I'll just ask for 1,000, that's all. But thank you so much for watching this long. And again, like I always say, please stay out of trouble. I know how you are. Have a good day.